Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my niece that the family does not like her fiancé and that I will not be at her wedding? Original post. So for context, there is a 21-year age gap between myself and my eldest brother. This means that I, 28 female, and his oldest daughter, 23 female, are very close in age and have grown up very close. I am very much the favorite aunt and have always considered us friends, not just family. She comes to me when she has a problem she doesn't want to talk to her parents about. She tells me about her boyfriend and friend problems. She would call me when she was in college and needed to be picked up from a party or bar. I was the first person she told when her boyfriend proposed. She called me at 6 a.m. the next morning because she was so excited to tell me. Some context on her fiancé. They have been together for 3 years and he is 1 year younger than her. She just graduated college in May 2024 and he is on track to graduate in May 2025. They have their wedding scheduled for just a week after his graduation. He is studying biochemical and microengineering and is very smart, more on the introverted side with a dry sense of humor. Since she introduced him to the family, we could tell they were serious and tried to be as welcoming as possible, inviting him to family events and trips, getting him birthday and Christmas presents, and genuinely trying to get to know him. Whenever he is around our family, he acts annoyed all the time, like it's painful to spend time with us. He expects my niece to stay by his side during the entire function, getting annoyed if any of the little cousins ask her to play, including my children. For more context, my niece is my children's godmother. He expects her to leave at the same time as him, even if they drove separately. My eldest brother constantly advocates for him, saying he's just introverted, and the size of our family makes him uncomfortable, insisting that he's different in smaller groups or one-on-one settings. But I haven't seen that, even when it was just the two of them with me and my husband. He talks to everyone like we're stupid and is extremely condescending. When they got engaged, things got worse. With how close we are, I expected to be asked to be part of the wedding party, but she didn't ask me. I was a little hurt, but I chose to let it go because it's her special day and her choice. Then his family planned the engagement party and didn't invite any of my family. She explained that it was just a small affair, just their parents and siblings. But I later found out she lied when I saw pictures on social media. I confronted her about that, but she said she didn't plan the guest list, so I tried to let that go too. Then she didn't invite me or my mom to her dress outing, saying there was a limited number of people allowed, and she wanted to make sure his mom and sisters could go. After that, I told her that it really seemed like she was trading our family for his. She said she wasn't, but when I asked later how they planned to spend holidays, he said they'd spend them with his family. My last straw was in December and January. In December, she invited me and my husband to dinner. I was excited because she hadn't initiated us hanging out since her engagement. Dinner was nice, a little awkward since conversation wasn't smooth with her fiancé, but pleasant enough. When the check came, my husband took care of it after it sat on the table for about 15 minutes, and they didn't offer to split or pay, even though they invited us. When we were ready to go, they asked if we could have a serious conversation. I was confused as to why we didn't have it during the meal, but they proceeded to ask us for money to help pay for their wedding. She said it was turning out to be more expensive than they thought, and they needed help since their parents don't make enough. I asked why they didn't wait until he was working and not just in an unpaid internship, or until she got a full-time job instead of a part-time one. I said I wasn't saying no, but I wanted to understand why they were having their wedding so soon, only 8 months after their engagement. That conversation devolved into an argument about financial responsibility. Her fiancé said if we can help, we should, because it's family. Then when my husband explained that a lot of our money was invested for our children's future, he said we had plenty of time to resave. We offered $2,000 as a small gesture to help, and my niece brought up my savings from my deceased husband's life insurance. I asked if she really thought bringing up my deceased husband was going to help her case. We then repeated our offer of $2,000, and he asked if that was really all we would give, so we withdrew the offer. We left enraged. Then before Christmas, my mom invited them over to bake because the fiancé enjoys baking desserts and bread. He was so rude to her that she came over afterward for some grandkid time and tea because she was so sad. My dad was pissed, and then neither my niece nor her fiance came to Christmas. We had a family get-together around New Year's, and while driving two of my brothers and their wives home, we talked about how sick everyone was of the fiancé and how we wished they weren't getting married. Finally, in January, it was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. I planned a party for them, and then we were going to Mexico, a group gift financed by myself and my siblings for our parents. The fiancé was only coming to the party because he couldn't miss school for Mexico. The party was fancy, RSVP invitations, private venue, catered, semi-formal dress code. A week before, my niece texted me to let me know her fiancé wasn't going to come to the party because of a fraternity event. I told her this was an important family event, and on top of that, it was rude to skip an event he RSVP'd for without a good reason. I made it clear I didn't consider a fraternity event a good reason, considering how long he'd known about the party. She said she'd talked to him, but I never heard back, so I was unsure if he'd come. The day of, he showed up late, wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and a backward cap. My mom, still trying to be nice, said she was glad he was there, and he responded, like I had a choice. He then stayed seated, not speaking to anyone at his table or participating in any activities. About halfway through, we were taking a family photo and invited him to be in it. He said, "This isn't my family." My mom started crying and excused herself to the bathroom. I pulled him aside and snapped. I told him that if he didn't want to be part of this family, to get the heck out. I told him I was tired of dealing with his attitude and disrespect and pretending to like him, and that he needed to leave. When my niece went to follow him, I told her that if she went with him, she should forget coming to Mexico with us. She didn't follow him, but she made it clear she was upset that he'd been kicked out. The adults in the family, about 12 of us, sat down with her to air out our grievances about the fiancé so she would understand the extent of the problem. But she still defended him, saying we just didn't know him well and that we made him uncomfortable. After that, I told my husband I couldn't pretend nothing was wrong anymore, so we declined the RSVP to the wedding. She texted me asking why, and I met her for coffee. I explained that I didn't feel I could support her marriage, that he wasn't a good person, and I felt like her independence and everything special about her was disappearing behind his expectations. She disagreed and said I didn't understand. She told me that if I really cared about her, I should suck it up and come to the wedding. So, am I the a-hole? Should we go to the wedding? And was I wrong for telling her in the first place? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole, but I don't think you are seeing things clearly. The guy made her own grandma cry and she defends him. You all act as if he is the problem here, but she is choosing him. She is defending him. He is that way because she allows it to be. He made her grandma cry and she still said you were all in the wrong? She is not some silly child blinded by love. She sees what he does, but still chooses him when he so blatantly disrespects all of you. She is the a-hole here. Well, the fiancé too, of course, but it wouldn't matter if she was not choosing him. Stop believing she's just some misguided child. She's an adult and making very clear choices. If a guy made my mama cry, I'd throw hands. Not the a-hole. I like how when asking for money y'all are all family, but when it's time to take a picture y'all aren't family? I would let your niece know that while you don't support her marriage, you support her and will be there if she needs to leave. More like when she needs to leave. Heaven forbid they have children right away. Mini update. From what I understand, she and her fiancé don't live together, and they don't do overnights, by their choice, due to her Christian beliefs. She's returned to living with her parents because she's broke and unmotivated, and he lives in a frat house. Her parents also expect her to follow their rules, including a curfew, while living at home, out of respect for the routine they've established for her special needs sister. While I agree with the assessment that he's setting her up to be isolated, they aren't currently in a situation where there's privacy for financial or emotional abuse. I also think he's a narcissist. She agreed to sit down and talk with me again, and I was able to better articulate my concerns for her future and what she's setting herself up for, as well as my concerns about him. We are still not going to the wedding. I explained that part of the reason is because I love her. Ultimately, it's supposed to be a special day for her, and with the way I feel about him, I would object to the union in front of everyone rather than privately. I told her that whatever she chooses, I am always in her corner, and I hope she still wants to spend time with me and my kids. But more than that, I want her to know she can come to me anytime for anything. And for her sake, I hope I'm wrong about him. We did get her a few things off the registry that I knew were more for her than him. She said she would think about everything, so we'll see what happens between now and then. And to the person who said I didn't think through what this might mean for the future, I can assure you I did. My family means the world to me, and I don't want to hurt her or damage my relationship with her. But we got to the point where I couldn't stay quiet and pretend like nothing was wrong. Thanks to everyone for the input. It really helped me organize my thoughts and think through everything that's happened. Now for the full update. So I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to have anything else to update after my husband and I decided not to go to the wedding, and I figured if I did have more to update, it wouldn't be until after the wedding. But holy hell was I wrong. I figured I'd share since so many people were invested and gave great advice when I needed it before. So first off, my daughter and I ended up going to the bridal shower at the end of April. My niece asked me repeatedly to come, and I figured that things would be relatively drama-free since the fiancé doesn't attend bridal showers. I asked in advance if she was sure she wanted my daughter to come since she is under 10. I was assured there would be other children there and that my niece really wanted her goddaughter present. Skip to the day of, and my daughter was the only child. One of my sisters-in-law even told me she was specifically told not to bring her 3 daughters, 1 older and 2 younger than my daughter. The maternal aunt kept scolding my daughter for touching things, even though I was keeping an eye on her and she wasn't doing any such thing. The groom's mother asked if I was purposely trying to ruin the event, and the groom's sister said it was rude of me to bring her. I was ready to walk out, but the bride's 19-year-old sister took my daughter to play in her room upstairs. That niece has special needs and said she was feeling overstimulated, but the bride was still upset that she didn't stay downstairs for the whole event. The bride never even said hi to my daughter, which made her feel very sad when we went home. We played those "How well do you know the bride" games, which I won, prompting my niece to say that I was basically her best friend, causing an awkward silence, as the room became confused about why I wasn't in the wedding party. Extra special surprise for me, all the groom's sisters are in her bridal party, but her best friend and her own sister are not. About a week later, we got together to celebrate my dad's birthday. When my mom invited them, the fiancé responded, "If I don't have anything better to do, then I might come." My mom didn't hear anything else, so she assumed he wasn't coming. When he showed up, she had to set a place for him, prompting him to play the victim and say we didn't want him around. He had to be asked to put his phone away at the table while we were eating, and no one else had their phones with them. The final straw for my parents was twofold. First, they asked about the rehearsal dinner, because you'd think the grandparents of the bride would be invited. They were told it was for the wedding party only, which basically includes the groom's entire family. I later found out through other people that the groom's grandparents were going to the rehearsal dinner because they came from out of state and wanted as much time with the grandkids as possible. I kept that tidbit to myself because I didn't want my parents to be more hurt than they already were. They then had the audacity to ask my parents to hang out with the bride's sister, since she doesn't do well staying home alone, and everyone else would be busy at the dinner. The second thing was that the bride asked my mom what she'd be wearing to the wedding, specifically if she was going to buy a new dress. My mom said she wasn't, because she already had a nice dress. My niece responded that my mom dresses old-fashioned and frumpy, and that she didn't think anything she already had would be appropriate for the wedding. For context, my mom is very stylish for her age, mid-70s, and the dress she had picked out was gorgeous. My mom told her that she was being rude, but said she would give her the benefit of the doubt because wedding planning is stressful. She then sent her a picture of the dress, explaining that she had bought it for her best friend's daughter's wedding and had only worn it once, so my niece had never seen it before. My niece responded, "I guess it's okay." My mom felt very defeated, and my dad had had enough. He responded on their behalf with, "From our various interactions, it does not seem that you want us to be participants in your special day." Your grandmother and I will no longer be attending your wedding." They returned their wedding gifts. My husband and I decided to do the same. Now, from my side of the family, only 2 of my 5 siblings are going. One because it's his daughter, and one because his wife is playing the guitar during the ceremony, and he didn't want her going alone. She does piano or acoustic guitar accompaniment for special events professionally, and had committed before the bulk of the drama happened. She didn't want to harm her professional reputation by backing out last minute. That brother has let everyone know they will not be staying past the ceremony, that his kids are hanging out with Grammy and Gramps, and that he's going full petty by wearing jeans, a t-shirt, and a hat, just like the fiancé did to our parents' 50th anniversary celebration. That's all I've got for now, and I don't know what else could happen at this point, but I'll keep you updated. Wedding is 1 week away. To address a few things I've noticed popping up. The reason the fiancé was invited to family dinners is my mom. We, her children, have asked her to stop inviting him to things because he always inevitably ruins the atmosphere. But she's from a generation where family always gets another chance, and you do everything to keep the peace. We're slowly but surely helping her to establish and maintain healthy boundaries. She was also holding on to hope that she'd be gaining a grandson, not losing a granddaughter. My niece is absolutely contributing to the problem. She didn't used to be this way. As I've said before, we were good friends. She's the godmother to my kids and was in both of my weddings. I noticed her becoming more self-centered as she gained independence in college. I hoped it would get better, but it's gotten worse, contributed to by the dipshit and his family. I'm trying to find a balance between letting her know I love her and that if she's in trouble or needs help, we're here. But also that her current attitude and actions are unacceptable and unsupported. Sometimes she does acknowledge that he's rude, but always has an excuse lined up. School stress, internship workload, bad day, that sort of thing. It always comes back to, he's a good guy, you just don't know him well enough. I think my brother is in denial and doesn't want to admit that his daughter is getting into a bad situation. He's full of all the excuses too. Introverted, not comfortable with large groups, stressed, tired, smart to the detriment of social skills. We've heard it all. It's kind of hard to ignore when your whole family decides not to show up to the wedding though, so maybe it'll knock some sense into him. He was very angry when I sent him screenshots of the texts between his daughter and our mom though, so I'll give him props for that one. I'm sorry, but your niece is not a good person. Her fiancé is the worst, but she's right there with him, with the way she has been treating you and your family. Unless there are some missing reasons that you haven't shared with us, she sounds like she's as big of a jerk as he is. Her fiancé made her grandmother cry, and she still defended him. Seriously, that right there would have been the straw that not only broke the camel's back, it also broke all 4 legs and the concrete beneath it. Going to put this out here, but in less than 5 years she's going to be an abused housewife, needing an escape from her abusive, controlling husband. Unfortunately for her, she's already done all the groundwork alienating the family that would have helped her. And she's probably going to feel entitled to their help anyway, because she's a crappy person with questionable morals and judgment. If she's abused, I hope she does come to us for help, and I don't consider that entitlement. Through all of this, we've done our best to make it clear that while we don't support her current actions and attitude that we are here to help if she is in trouble, there will be no "I told you so." There will simply be "you've been hurt, but you are safe here." Your brother may be trying to keep the lines of communication open for when his daughter needs help escaping her Darth Vader boyfriend. Love this analogy. Ironically enough, that brother is a huge Star Wars nerd. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my husband plan his daughter's birthday after his ex called me just the babysitter? I, 33 female, married my husband, 36 male, 3 years ago. He has a daughter, 9 female, from his previous marriage. Her mother and I have always had a distant but cordial relationship, until now. Last week, while dropping his daughter off after school, her mother made a comment within earshot of the child. "At least now I don't have to worry. She's got a glorified babysitter." I was stunned. I cook this child's meals, help with homework, braid her hair when she asks me to. I have never tried to replace her mother, but I sure as heck act more than just a babysitter. I told my husband that I felt hurt and disrespected, and I didn't want to be involved in planning her birthday this year. Not out of spite toward the child, but because I don't want to set the table for people who don't see me as family. He said I was being petty and making it about me, but I genuinely feel like I'm being taken for granted. Am I the a-hole for backing out of the birthday planning? Now for the top comments. You've got a heck of a husband problem going on. Why didn't he shut her down? Her parents suck. Exactly my thought. Nobody else is considering hubby's reaction. I find it more hurtful than the ex. See, what you're doing is conveniently not blaming your husband for seeing the same way as his ex. If he had shut her down hard, you'd be feeling differently. But the truth is, that's all you are in his eyes as well. You have bigger issues than the ex. Don't do the party for that reason.